Writing and producing a song completely by yourself is actually pretty simple. Let me show you. So first things first, you're gonna need to choose your chord progression. I'm gonna go with the chords E, C sharp minor, B, and A. Next, you're gonna play around with these chords on an instrument of your choice. I'm using piano. And now I'm just gonna kind of like play around with the piano and try to come up with some cool piano parts for different parts of my song. So in my case, since I'm doing a pop song, I'm immediately thinking of the pop song structure, which is the, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus structure, generally speaking. So I'm just gonna be playing around with the piano, trying to come up with like some cool parts for each part of the song that, could really fit each of those sections. So this is what I came up with for the chorus. And for the verse, I was thinking maybe something like this. And then for the bridge, I want to be a little more dramatic, so I came up with this. Obviously, this is just the base, so nothing is fixed yet, and you can change everything around. You can come up with different parts later, but this is just like something that you can work with in the beginning so that you can start writing the song and then, building the arrangement. It's just like a really good baseline to have. And now comes the part that we've all been waiting for, and by all, I mean me, the songwriting aspect, of course. And to be totally honest, the songwriting part of it is like not something I can really help you out with that much because it's really not very technical. It just comes down to your creativity and your individuality and how you want to express yourself. But I can give you some general guidelines on how I do it. Although songwriting is very magical and very ambiguous, and like most of the time I don't even know how it happens. Like I'll just like a melody will literally just pop up in my brain out of nowhere, and I'm always like just thankful to the universe that happens to me. But I can just give you some general guidelines on how you can do it, and hopefully it helps. So what I can tell you from more practical side of things is that generally speaking, when I'm writing a song with an instrument, because very often, like I said, melodies will just pop up in my head without me even playing an instrument. But when I actually do pick up an instrument to play, I will just start playing around with the chords. I will just be playing a random rhythm pattern or an arpeggio, and I'll be doing this for a while, and I'll just kind of let my brain just kind of like run free, and after a while melodies will start coming to me, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, so you have to use discernment. Not every melody idea that you get is good. Some suck and you should never use them. I've learned that the hard way. But yeah, just kind of like play around with the chords and just let your mind and your creativity run free, and I promise you will come up with something cool even if it takes you a while. So yeah, I'll just like listen to the chords, I'll play around with them, and I'll just let them guide the creation of both the melody and the lyrics. I usually kind of write both together, but it always starts with the melody. One thing, like as a general rule of thumb that's really important to remember is that music is not poetry, it's music. So you always have to lead with the melody. The melody is always gonna be the most important part, even though I love lyrics. In my heart, I'm a lyricist, but I'm very aware when I'm writing a song that I'm not writing poetry, I'm writing a song. And so I will, come up with a melody, and then I'll just kind of I will be filling the melody out with the words that fit the melody seamlessly, because the words have to fit the melody seamlessly. You can't force lyrics into a melody if they don't fit in there, So yeah, I'll just like play the chords. I'll start humming melodies that are coming to me in my head. And as I'm doing that, I'm letting words naturally come out. Very often you'll start singing gibberish, like gibberish words that mean nothing. And out of those gibberish words, like a few words or a few phrases will pop out. And I think that's your subconscious working. I don't know. That's the universe, like, doing its thing through you. That's what I believe anyway. So yeah, I'll just like follow that, and then I will also think about what I want to emotionally express, or if there's something in particular that I'm thinking about or feeling in that moment, and then I'll write about it. And very often you'll find that when you're writing songs, like songs will write themselves, and sometimes like you might be going through something very difficult in your life and you might not even be aware of just how much it's affecting you or how you're feeling about it until you sit down to write a song, and then all of that will just pour out. It's really fascinating. I love it. I'm obsessed with songwriting. Yeah. And I was actually recording myself as I was writing the song, as I was like trying to figure it out, just because I thought it'd be really cool to have like a little snippet of like how that actually looks. So here it is. So once I've written the whole song, so both the melody and the lyrics, I then move on to coming up with the harmonies, which are also known as the backing vocals. And honestly, I normally harmonize in my head, like very naturally. Like when I record the lead vocal, I will just listen to it over and over again. I will come up with harmonies like on the go. I don't really need to like use an instrument for this at this point, but I will show you how you can find them on the piano as well. It's super simple. So the way that I would normally do this on the piano is I will just play the lead vocal melody that I want to harmonize, and I will just move that same melody to a different note in the same scale, most commonly a third above or below. Third harmonies are very common in pop music because they sound very natural and they blend really well with the lead vocal, but you can also harmonize fifths, sixths, octaves, etc. Whatever sounds good to you, but I think, you know, a third above and below is like a good kind of like base to start with if you're just learning how to harmonize for the first time. So let's take the chorus as an example. So if this is the lead melody of the chorus, when the party's over and it's time for closure, then the third above would sound like this. Right? When the party's over and it's time for closure. And a third below would sound like this. When the party's over and it's time for closure. Next step, you're gonna record everything that you just came up with into a DAW of your choice. I'm using Ableton Live and I swear by it. It's the best DAW in my humble opinion. No offense to Logic or Cubase or Pro Tools users. Who uses Pro Tools these days? Honestly though. And then you're gonna start arranging and building the rest of your song, which is super fun. Oh yeah, and here's my little setup, my little home studio, so you can see what I'm working with, in case you're interested, I don't know. So we open a new project. And before we do anything, we need to set the tempo for our song, which is called a BPM, which means beats per minute. For this song, I'm using a BPM of about 85 since I'm doing a ballad. So now we just type that into Ableton. And then we just record everything we've created so far. So to record our instruments, we need to create an empty MIDI track. And we also need to turn on the metronome here so that we're playing in tempo. And then we just hit record, which is this button right here. So I start with a piano. vocal. And we record our vocals into an audio track rather than a MIDI track. We have to arm it and make sure that the right input is selected. And then we just hit record once more. When the party's over and it's time for closure, soon enough. Then backing vocals. When the party's over and it's time for closure, soon enough. When the party's over and it's time for closure, soon enough. Oh, and one important tip, you need to record 2 takes for each backing vocal and then pan them left and right slightly, because that creates width, which makes them sound a lot fuller and better. So now that we recorded our bass, we're gonna start building the rest of the arrangement. Honestly, this is basically where like a lot of your taste and personal preferences come into play. You get to decide which genre you want your song to be in, which instruments you want to play, like, you know, the world that you want your song to live in, like how you want it to sound. So you're gonna be, you know, picking out your instruments that you want, you know, your song to have. You're gonna be picking out different effects and different plugins that you wanna put in the song. So yeah, this is really like where, again, like with songwriting, I can't really help you out with that much. All I can say is that it's fun, and just like what I personally do is I just keep adding, and then I will later on remove the things that I don't like. But in the initial phases, I just experiment and I let myself go crazy, and I will just add like a little bit of everything and see what I like and what I don't like. So needless to say, we're still following the same chord progression, but now we're going to be adding things like strings. Some extra piano textures. And we need the bass line, of course. A little violin. Some electric guitar. Cello. Electric piano. I also added a few extra little vocal harmonies as decorative runs between sections, and I use EQ and echo to make them sound more submerged and atmospheric. So this is what they sound like. Oh, you look for me, but I won't be there. Oh, and I also created this really cool riser effect between the first chorus and the second verse, which sounds like this. And I did that by simply taking the last piano chord, freezing it, converting it into audio, reversing it, and then adding some reverb to it. Super simple. So here's what it all sounds like together. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this so far, but I'll probably just keep like adding some more stuff and like adjusting the levels and just playing with the whole arrangement until I'm fully satisfied with the exact, result. You could also add some drums here, like some kind of a beat, but I'm not gonna do that since I'm doing a ballad, so I'm kind of keeping it more like minimal production. But yeah, you can take this anywhere you want, just experiment, go crazy, and have some fun. So once I've recorded the vocals and finished the whole arrangement, I will then edit all of the tracks and I will add effects on the tracks. I will not be editing the tracks now, especially the vocals, because that is very tedious. It takes forever and it is super boring. So I'm not going to be doing that right now. However, I will show you just like what some of the most basic, most important effects do, like reverb, compressor, equalizer, etc. I'm not going to go through all of them now because there's like endless effects in Ableton and any other DAW. But I'm just going to show you some of the most basic ones just so you get a general idea of what they are used for. So to demonstrate what the equalizer does, I'm going to use that electric piano track I just created. The equalizer basically lets you shape the frequency balance of a sound. So if something sounds muddy, harsh, boxy, or just unpleasant, you can isolate that exact area and reduce it slightly. And what I usually do is I will sweep through the frequencies. I'll find what sounds unpleasant to me and I'll gently cut it so the instrument sounds much cleaner and sits better in the mix, like this. You can do that with each of the bands. These are called bands. Since I'm using EQ8, it has 8 bands. And so you just kind of, play with it until you get the exact sound that you really like. So yeah, honestly, equalizer is like pretty hard to explain for me, but I hope you understood the general idea behind it. And to demonstrate what a compressor does, I will use my lead vocal. So here's my vocal with and without compression. When the party's over and it's time for closure, soon enough, you know I was your shelter through your darkest hours. That's when you'll find I'm still the one. So yeah, I feel like the compressors are often very misunderstood and sometimes people think compression is something negative, but it's actually just a very useful tool. It basically just reduces the difference between loud and quiet parts so the sound feels more controlled and consistent. It basically catches peaks and smooths out the dynamics, which helps vocals and other instruments sit more steadily in the mix. And yeah, that's what a compressor does. And now to demonstrate what reverb does, I will also use my lead vocal. When the party's over and it's time for closure, soon enough, you know I was your shelter through your darkest hours. That's when you'll find I'm still the one. So yeah, reverb basically creates a sense of space, so it makes the sound feel like it exists in a room, a hall, or atmosphere instead of sounding completely dry, which is really cool. Reverb is actually my favorite effect, so yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of the effects because that video would be way too long and way too boring, but yeah, the effects basically like shape the tone and the texture of the tracks in your song, and just kind of add that little like finishing touch and make every track just sound a little bit nicer, a little more polished. And then finally, when we finish all of that, it's time to mix and master the song. I'm also not going to go into details for that because it would be really long and it's also not very interesting to watch someone mix a song. That's super boring. But in a nutshell, mixing is basically just adjusting the levels and cleaning up frequencies, and also just kind of making sure that everything like fits together like a puzzle in space, so that like frequencies aren't overlapping and they work really well together in a song. And then mastering is the final polish that we do after we mix the song, after we finished everything. It just kind of like make sure that the song is really cohesive and fully ready to be played anywhere and everywhere and sounds really professional. But I'm also not going to be going into the specifics on mastering because I'm getting really tired, and so I'll just save that for some other video. Now, I do think it's about time that we listen to the final result of the song that we did so far, at least. So, here it is. When another lover leaves your bed, when it's you and you alone again, when there's nothing that can ease the pain, you'll remember who once held your hand. When the party's over and it's time for closure, oh, soon enough, you'll know I was your shelter through your darkest hours. That's when you'll find I'm still the one. When you get tired of the same old games and everybody starts to look the same, when you realize what we had was rare, you'll look for me but I won't be there. When the party's over and it's time for closure, oh, soon enough, you'll know I was your shelter through your darkest hours. That's when you'll find I'm still the one. Oh, 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 still the one. Oh, 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 oh. When the party's over and it's time for closure, oh, soon enough, you'll know I was your shelter through your darkest hours. That's when you'll find I'm still the one. So yeah, I kind of like that, to be honest. I mean, obviously this is still a rough draft. Like I said, I still need to edit the vocals, like, you know, play with all of the effects and the levels, mix and master, all of that stuff. But I do think that this shows you just how easily you can actually create an entire song at your home from scratch and have it come out sounding pretty professional, if I dare say so myself. So yeah, let me know if this video was helpful, if you maybe want me to do a part 2 where I go really deep into the mixing and mastering aspect of it. That might be fun for some people. And also, should I finish this song and post it online? Maybe? I don't know. You let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.